Hello. Hello, warriors. We are live. We're live today here on this transmission. Today's transmission is a special one because I am going to be joined by Warrior Mystery School student who will soon be officially alumni because today is the last day of the Warrior Mystery School class of 2022. So she's gonna join me in a few so she can share her experience with the mystery school. Bassaco, you're here. I see you. Send me a request to join. Yes. So you should be joining now. Say hello when you're joining. Let us know that you are here.
Hello.
Hello,
Hey, Joy.
Basako. Hi,
Hey,
welcome.
hi everyone. Thank you for asking me to come and share my experience. I'm really excited to let everyone know what the Warrior Mystery School has done for my life. So thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm really excited
Yes.
for you and for everyone to just kind of like contemplate and just share the experience because I mean, I can only say so much, but I think it's
Mm,
best if it comes from someone who's been through this and yeah, who can share from her perspective. So, yeah. So, if you're joining us, let
yes.
us know that you're here with us. Hashtag Warrior of Light. If you're watching this, the replay, hashtag replay. Yes. And so we're going to jump in. Let's begin, Basako. Let's start with you sharing a little bit more about yourself and then we will take it from there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. A little bit about myself.
Mm.
Wow, I'm seeing everyone join it, and I'm just like, whoa, okay, hi everyone. So good to see,
Yeah.
people just coming in to really hear, the work that you've been doing. So I'm just so grateful, honestly. So really, my journey has been so interesting. Prior to, coming into contact with you, Joy, I found myself in so many different um, I'd say maybe spiritual communities, like a lot of us, I'm from, my ancestry is Ivory Coast and I was born and raised in the UK. So at some point, I was born and raised in the church, that story. But eventually I felt very disconnected from the church and was really on a journey to truly finding myself. And that started through Ancestry. It just began from really wanting to understand what my people, what their, their spiritual beliefs were prior to colonization. So I kind of got into um, this whole journey of really connecting with my ancestors through, my Ivorian lineage. So that's where it began. And I'm an artist as well. I'm a musician, a singer, songwriter, and I do a lot of performance art through dance. So a lot of my expression was geared towards creativity, and spirituality really came in when I went through a very traumatic experience through sexual violence. So that's what kind of shifted just my whole journey alongside discovering my ancestry, and through that journey of understanding, African spiritualities, when I came across Joy and your videos on YouTube, where you were having these amazing conversations with these African spiritual leaders, really kind of breaking down the concepts and the practices and the rituals. And I think for me, where I kind of found myself, um, I guess, questioning African spirituality was the connection with God, with the divine, like where, because there's this idea of, ancestral worship, and it just seemed so disconnected from you know, this higher power, the source of everything. So when I started watching your videos, I was like, oh, okay, this is making sense. This is kind of, you know, and amidst all of that, there was also a lot of new age kind of concepts as well that I kind of got into. So it was all kind of just, you know, just a part of the journey of discovering, you know, who I am and what it really means to kind of connect to spirituality. So yeah, the first masterclass that really got me was, I believe, your cosmic ancestry masterclass last year. That's, for me, that was just like, wait, what? Cosmic? What do you mean? what? Okay, that really intrigued me. And yeah, like since that masterclass, you just blew my mind, and I just wanted to know more. I wanted to understand more, and that's how I, you know, I decided to join the Warrior Mystery School.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I mean, I'm only actually kind of hearing the story for the first
I
time.
know, right?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
never told me this, but yeah, that's so beautiful. I am particularly really happy to hear about like how even prior to the mystery school you started to like feel and sense that reconciliation with God and ancestry and how this is connected, because that's a lot of what we do in the mystery school, right? We do a lot of reconciliation with a lot of different aspects of the self, right? And one of the things about you that I celebrate is that somewhere along the mystery school, you actually couldn't attend live, I think, for a couple of months because you were in a different country and the internet was not working, but you literally watched every single masterclass. And I was like, this child, she never misses any of the teachings. So you kind of had to do a lot of that processing with yourself, right? Which I think it's really beautiful how you kept, you know, getting yourself updated all the time, even when you couldn't attend the classes live. So it's a very broad 1 year experience, but maybe we can just kind of like try to remember just some of the reconciliation that you did in the mystery school, like from the beginning up to where we are today. Yeah.
Yeah, so doing that's is so interesting how things pan out, you know, because I joined the mystery school, and then I think it was maybe 2 months that after I went to Gambia to be with my partner, and I was there for 6 months. It was it was so difficult to connect, but I know the lives were happening every Sunday, so I was just like, okay, let me just record everything so at least I can catch up and really tune in. And during those times when I was watching those videos and just, you know, kind of just integrating those practices, I was also going through such a massive transformation simultaneously. So it was almost like this, it was literally my saving grace to kind of get into these classes, and really things would happen in my reality, and then the classes would reaffirm, would actually reconcile those triggers, or those you know, just as a healer, just as, you know, as a genetic path cutter in general, our our reality is always a catalyst for that healing or for that awareness. So it was just so comforting to know that I could, at the very least, have a deeper understanding of what was going on with your classes, and also have the community, the other our beautiful warriors also reaffirm certain experiences that I was going through. I was like, oh my God, okay, it's not just me, you know, things are happening, you know, the grids are like, you know, the energy here is intense, and kind of understanding that everything that I was doing, everything that I had to kind of, I was interfacing, was greater than just me. You know, it had a lot to do with just my ancestors. It had a lot to do with the land that I was on in Gambia, the work that I felt called to do there. And overall, it was just so powerful, so transformative, and it allowed me to I guess in a very intense way, reconcile my own serenity and my own um, uh, connection with the divine, you know, through those experiences. And I had a lot of time. I had the sun and everything, but I had so much time, so it was just so aligned, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I can say about that.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm able to hear you, but I see Tlaki, who is also alumni of the mystery school. She's alumni of Warren Mystery School 2020. So she's saying she can't
Oh,
hear you. Yeah, I wonder if
oh
that's
no.
everyone. Yeah. Yeah, hi
Mhm.
Tlaki. I can hear you though, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Please
my
confirm
sound
for
might be a
us
bit
for
quiet.
us.
I'll speak up. I'll speak up for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, yes, for sharing this. So one of the things that I know has been really profound, even for me to teach this, to help us remember this, is definitely our connection to the lands which
Mm,
where we are called, the lands where we come from, our ancestral lands as well. And
yes.
of course, particularly the experiences that our ancestors went through in those lands and how that impacts us and influences us today. And it's also connected to some of the missions that we do have as genetic path cutters, being born where you are born, right? And I know you've had an interesting journey with that, with one Ivory Coast being your ancestral lands, and
Yeah.
also going through the mystery school while you're in the Gambia, which was also another experience, and then being born and raised in the UK, and how connected these lands are and the work that you're called to do, that you've had to heal within yourself, right? So
Yes.
just interested in, yeah, share with the other warriors. Hello, everyone. Just what you've been, yeah, getting around ancestral land, ancestral experiences, and how this connects to who we are today and our missions as genetic path cutters.
Yes. What I will say is, I guess for me, my awareness expanded with the lands and I guess how it connected um, to my mission. That for me already, that was so like, what? Okay, there's a reason. There's a reason for why, you know, my parents moved to the UK or why I was born. I had this heritage. There was a reason, and it's so divinely aligned. So for me, even simply just knowing that was I guess in a sense empowering, and another aspect of reconciling with just my sovereignty and who I truly am. Like that has some, just having that, just knowing that has so much power in itself. Um, and I think for me, um, just going through that journey and understanding that really really gave me so much more purpose than I felt that I had. You know, I moved from this state of confusion, you know, of kind of trying to um, find my place in this new age space, find my place in this African space, to, you know, integrating all those elements, integrating, you know, my experience in Gambia, integrating my experience as an Ivorian, you know, and also integrating my experience being born here, and, you know, the healing that needs to happen in all of those lands. So for me, yeah, overall, it's an empowering thing as a genetic path cutter, to be able to have that awareness and integrate um, those, yeah, just the different medicine that we have to offer for those lands that we're connected to. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yes. It's funny, I was just talking to a friend of mine about how I think at the center of the mystery school is sovereignty, right? And sovereignty is something that I think a lot of us, when we awaken, we give it away. We give our power away to spiritual concepts, spiritual practices, spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
And so many of us were trying to map like what is true, what is the path to the divine, what is my purpose within my spirituality, how do I work with all the different elements of spirituality, because unfortunately we are the generation that comes from colonization, so we have lost a lot of our rite of passages. We have lost just like the spiritual ways in the full form, right? There are still some that are still standing, particularly for us here in Africa, that we can still connect with. But it's still such a very confusing time to awaken. And you have this Western perspective and then this Eastern perspective. And I don't know how your journey has been, but mine, it was where I started with the West, and then I went to India, the East, and then I was kind of hanging there for a while, and then I was like, I need to come back home, and then I came home. And then home was also like African spirituality was also, what is my spirituality as a Motswana, right? And then how is it connected to Southern Africa, the rest of Africa, and just reconciling all these different belief systems. There is definitely a point where it can feel very overwhelming and very confusing, and particularly in terms of our relationship with our ancestors, right? There's often this very hierarchical, difficult relationship that sometimes is similar to the same kind of relationship we have with God from church, right? And just noticing these and not losing your sovereignty, your power, while you are awakening, while you are healing yourself, right? So just wanting to hear more about your experiences with your relationship with your ancestors and your relationship with God as well, and how these have transformed through the work in the mystery school.
That's a great
Yeah.
question. Honestly, being in the Warrior Mystery School, first I want to just put that out there, is that the way you just broke down certain, like, just massive concepts about, just ancestry and the God world, and the source God, and through the lens of unity, for me that was so impactful in terms of me reconciling those maybe distortions or disconnections to either or. So already, just because I guess on the journey, I guess for me, I was always looking for that sense of acceptance, that sense of love, that sense of spirit being here with us, whether it's through, the healing of our ancestry, or really connecting with, the higher power, and not necessarily in a hierarchical way, in the way that we perceive it in society, but in a way that is reflective of a familial kind of sense, a sense of family, a sense of where we're coming from, a sense of there's a source to everything, and we are equal wherever we are placed, and in whatever dimension. For me, the way you just rounded that up, was enough for me to kind of develop more of a sense of questioning maybe, coming from the church, for example. I know, for example, when I was like, my parents, they were leaders. Like, I don't remember a time when I wasn't in church, when my dad wasn't either the deacon or my mum wasn't, the praise and worship leader, and we were there front and center. But I always felt a disconnect. I always felt like, there's something here, there's a sense of spirit that I really want to deeply connect to, but I feel like I'm limited. I feel like what I'm being taught, there's something missing, or it's just not resonating, so that was the first kind of feeling of disconnect. And then also questioning, my people as well, like, the Ivorians, and why their practices were deemed as, evil, demonic, or there was just a lot of distortion there as well, in wanting to fully embrace that, because it's still like we're very dark territory even to this day. So, you know, going on that journey and really just looking for, or just trying to look for all of that outside of me, you know, and then coming to the Warrior Mystery School to only come back to myself and come back to, I guess, a part of me that is already innately connected to these entities, whether it's my ancestry or God, was just, you know, it brought that idea of unity, that unity consciousness into full circle for me, because that was why I was, you know, looking for, you know, an understanding of my African ancestry. That was why I was looking for a deeper connection with God. You know, it was all about kind of bringing those things together. And I think that's that's the best way I can put it. But it was important that I felt those things, and in the Warrior Mystery School, it was just the thread that connected everything for me. That unity.
Yeah. Beautiful. Unity consciousness is also Ubuntu, you know, which is like a big like ideology, philosophy for Africans, you know, which we already know. And we practice. And I think that in spirituality, there's definitely this leaving the self to go search for the self elsewhere, you know. And then when you come back, you're like, oh, so I was always where I needed to be. This was always where God was. This was always where my ancestors were. Right? I remember one of the reasons that inspired me to start the mystery school was one, I had my awakening when I was 18 years old, and for years after that, I felt so alone. I was like, no one understands what's happening. I couldn't talk to any of my friends about all the experiences that I was having for years. And then when I went through my own auricular initiation, just that first experience, done from an African spirituality perspective, through the ways of my people here in Botswana, like the most powerful, profound aspect of it was just me genuinely feeling the presence of spirit in my body in ways that was shocking to me. Like, you know, I could feel that divine force, that divine light. And I knew I was in the presence of spirit on that first day of connecting with my ancestry. And I think that stayed with me because I've had all these books, I read all the books under the sun, and none of them were giving me the experience. It was just concepts. It was God is love. I was like, okay, what does that mean? You know? And then I had that experience with my mentor, and it just changed my life. And it was, I think, 2-3 years after that where I knew we need to create spaces for us to truly feel spirit, know God as a lived experience, not as a concept that someone tells you about. Know your ancestors as a lived experience, not a concept you listen to on YouTube or you read about. And so this is why a lot of the experiences in the mystery school are geared around experience, like helping you connect from an experience level so that you can feel that connection, because we can only do so much with explaining what God is, explaining what Christ is, explaining what ancestors is. That can only take you so far in terms of even you transmuting, changing, transforming your life, changing, right? But I think just genuinely the very experience of spirit is enough, more than enough, you know, with what we're looking for, which is, I think, what people are looking for, to connect with spirit in ways that's very real and visceral and felt in the body. So I know you're one of those people who feel spirit very deeply in the mystery school container. So I would love for you to share with people how this experience has been in terms of experiencing these concepts, not just listening to me teach about them, but experiencing them as well. And how this has obviously transformed your relationship with spirit and just your life, really. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Even this conversation, I just feel like I'm being taken, like I'm being, I need to ground.
We're not in the mystery school.
Yeah, we're not
Returning to
equipped.
self, yeah.
Well, I would
Yeah.
say my experience in the mystery school and I guess really it's almost like I feel like prior to the mystery school I'd had inklings of experiencing spirit in my body, viscerally, in my everyday experience, but I think being in the mystery school, being in this space where it felt safe, it felt like we were all here for a common goal. It felt, I feel like it was enough for me to kind of be receptive to what that experience is actually like in my body. And the words I'm thinking of now is just expansive, heart opening. There were times where, experiencing spirit in the mind is beautiful. You understand, I guess you have an understanding of the gnosis of God and our ancestry, but to feel it in your heart, to feel spirit move you, and in a way almost like a real conversation, a real conversation with someone you truly love. It's different. It's a whole another ball game, and I think for me it reaffirmed what I felt about connecting to God and connecting to my ancestors, and the purpose, why I'm here, why there's this mission, not only for myself but for the people around me, for this planet, and it goes on and on and on. It goes beyond, but it felt so intimate, in the Warrior Mystery School, that it just completely shifted my whole perception of the world, of current events, of things that just even in my relationship, the way I communicate with my partner, and understanding that just levels of sacred union that is not just not just mentally, but an actual visceral experience, and you can bring spirit into those experiences, was really just so life-changing, and so yeah, no, it really does shift a lot of the way we experience life in the present. I felt very, very much so, very present as well, with the healings, because you would break down these teachings, and we would then, you would do our healing, the journeys that we would go through, and it would just, everything would just like lock in, like just drop in, and just make complete sense from that like physical experience. So yeah, overall just amazing, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, when you talk about sacred union, I think like last week in our mystery school, when we were reflecting about this journey, one of the things that was like even heartwarming for me as a teacher was just the impact of the healing in our relationships to other people, particularly our intimate partners, that, yeah, we are in union with, we are married to as well. And it's not it's not as if we worked at length about our unions or our marriages, or even at length about our money, but there's always a big transformation that happens when we heal the self in the way that we relate to those relationships, to those people, in the way that we even relate to money and any other aspect of our life, our missions, our careers as well. There's always that evolution that happens. And I think you and me, we know what we mean truly by healing, and I think that, healing right now, it's such a big word, but like, what do we really mean to heal? Like, what has that really looked like for you to heal in terms of going through the experience, and just what has changed internally as well as externally as well, if that has been the case? Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Where to even begin? Like with healing, I mean, in so many words, I think the takeaway from being in the school in terms of healing for me was reclaiming, parts of myself that I'd forgotten, that I'd lost through, many traumatic experiences from childhood, to, just like things that have just happened in daily life. And as far back as, on a soul level, many lifetimes, and within the ancestry. So for me, understanding that I was never broken to begin with, I was never, I was never truly lost, For me, remembering that was just a fragment, just the beginning of that sense of feeling whole again. And for me, that sense of coming back into that wholeness, coming back into in this present moment right now, whatever I've been through, I have the power to reclaim those aspects of myself, to really have a sense of compassion and awareness, and really ask those questions in regards to maybe something as simple as, the way a belief system of not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy, like, where does that come from? Whose voice is that? What ancestor is kind of, I guess in my DNA, that, and how is it being expressed through me and through my life? That's kind of, an aspect of healing that, I came face to face with in the Warrior Mystery School. And that makes sense, right? It just doesn't sound like this huge concept, that is just never ending, or implies that there's something wrong with you. It just really goes back to that awareness and understanding that we innately just have those modalities and those capabilities to reclaim ourselves, reclaim those aspects that we thought were lost or broken, back into wholeness and connection with, as you say, our I am, our multidimensional goddess self or higher self. And to me, yeah, that's what I can say about healing. And it's difficult. It's not easy. It doesn't. It is so difficult, especially when you're on your own and you don't have that guidance. You don't have those mirrors supporting you along the way, which the Warrior Mystery School was that for me for a whole year. So the transformation has just been just amazing. Honestly, Joy. I could go on.
Yes. Thank you for sharing, Bassaco. I just want to take this time to invite to anyone here who wants to ask Bassaco any questions, or me really, about the mystery school. We're here to just answer any queries that you have about this experience. I hope that Bassaco is inspiring you as she's sharing her
I see some
experiences.
warriors up in here.
Yes, I do see the warriors. Hello, warriors.
See you in class
some of the
today.
work. Yes, our last class is today. And that's the other thing. So for me, when I was awakening, for many years, I was by myself. And I felt just that heaviness of having to figure things out by myself. It was very hard, and it was, I think I just started to have a bit of a shift when I started to be in community, when I started to join the yoga classes when I was in India, and I would go to the many different classes, meditation journeys, retreats. That's when I realized, oh, there is power in healing in community, with community, right? And having someone guide the process, because I think that sometimes we think we understand the concept, and so we know how to take that concept and practice it on ourselves. And for me, for many years, I was trapped in thinking that, because I was also a student of psychology. So having studied psychology, I thought, oh, I could, do psychotherapy on myself. I know how to, I know what's the problem. I could diagnose myself. But in retrospect, later in my own journey now, having consciously in the last 5 years deciding to heal with a practitioner, working with a mentor, with a guide, and also working in community with others who are going through the same journey as me, has been revolutionary. Like, I don't know who I am. Like, comparing myself to 5 years ago, I'm like, whoa. I don't even really think that the mystery school would be here if not for the healing that I've done with other mentors and guides, as well as in community, particularly in community with other people who are going through the same experiences as me. And also, obviously, I've been greatly healed by also um, connecting with other people who look like me. And I think as African people, this has been like a big wound as well, because a lot of our relationship with the world has always been where what we know about ourselves, what has been projected through the media, has been where you don't see that many Black people, right? So so for me, when I came back from India, just committing to create a community of other healers here at home changed my life. And it gave me that just like something to hold on to, and it's part of why I am big on community, why I created these live streams, why I have the podcast, and why I created What a Mystery School, because I know how scary and lonely awakening can be, particularly if you are spiritually called, ancestrally called, and just not having that community can just make the whole thing even more difficult and more painful. But like, the part of the mystery school that has always been a favorite for me is the round table. So share with the humans what the round table is and what round table has done to your life. Yes.
Well, okay. Well, everyone, the round table is where Joy just blows your mind some more with the energetic updates and just drop some knowledge. But no, really, the round table for me, anyways, has been, in a lot of ways, amazing, because that is really where I felt the most communal. That sense of just community and that sense of sisterhood, because there was, majority of us are women, so to be able to just share our experiences throughout the week, from what we learnt the week before, and express like quantum leaps in terms of, I know there was a time when I experienced like a kundalini awakening, and I had no idea what the what the F was going on. But just knowing that, okay, on Sunday I'm just going to tell my sisters, like the warriors, what's been going on, and if there's any insight. And I just always felt so safe and so held, because everyone had something of value to provide for me, and vice versa. And the support was just, because we're all going through such similar initiations, like the container is literally held and supported in honor of that, in honor of how we're expanding, in honor of the things that are opening up. Like my vision, my sight became crazy. Like my clairvoyance gifts just open up because I felt safe, and I felt like I could share, like, this is what I'm going through, and have that mirror and that support, and opportunity also to give my guidance, because I feel like oftentimes there is that essence, like I a lot of people struggle with that imposter syndrome, and a lot of the time, especially amongst women, that feeling of not being, being too much, or not being good enough as well, and not feeling worthy enough of sharing maybe something that we think is just so out there and crazy. Like, no, none of that is like, it's just, it's like you're healing all of that. You're healing years of that sister wound, and really just embracing and becoming receptive of that community and that support. So the round table, we've cried. Oh my goodness. We've laughed. We've really just been like, whoa, like experienced some major shifts just by sharing. So yeah, my experience of that will always, and I'll always carry that through, my own services as well, because it's just so powerful, and it does so much, as healers. Oh, my sis, Ankara, hey! I'm seeing like bare friends. That's so nice. Thanks for joining. Join the Morning Mystery School 2023.
I see on top of Ankara is Nombula, who is wearing Mystery School class of 2020. Hello, Nombula.
Hey.
Yes, I see some warriors here, alumni. Say hello. Let the humans know about your experience in the chat. Yeah, I love that. I love that, Bassaco, because yeah, the roundtable is it's so healing. We have the roundtable pretty much every week. We do have a space for us to really share and integrate what we are learning, the experiences that we've had. If we did a healing, a journey as well, just like a processing. But we also really just have one day, one Sunday in the month where it's just roundtable, where we come and we share experiences, and we just, it's just an opportunity to mirror back to each other the experiences and giving support. And it's just been really beautiful to witness this. I could actually leave and come back, and you guys are still chatting and talking. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's really beautiful. It's it's healing as well. I think that our community, we have the Genetic Pathfinder community, we have so much pain because we are holding the pain of our ancestors. We are the ones who feel so deeply and so vastly. And so we often, travel this journey alone. And then, you have this opportunity of the roundtable. And first of all, it took me some time to realize that in the beginning, it can be a very triggering experience to come in community, to be like, oh, that other person, they know better, or this and this. But the beauty of community is, just even without me doing anything, you are given an opportunity to heal all of these traumas you have with community, with sisterhood, with feeling, with the sense of belonging, whether you feel that you belong or you don't belong. And it's beautiful to heal that in a real experience. Like I said, I think that the mystery school is to move away from concepts. We listen to so many concepts, but we don't practice them. So spirituality is only useful really if we can practice it, and that's what it was always supposed to be. So yes, I just invite him, for those who are feeling called community to consider our community. I see a question here. So Lebo, hello Lebo, you're asking, is the mystery school mainly for people like oracles, or is it to support any kind of healer? So Bassaco, do you want to share your thoughts on this, and then I will expand? Yeah. What would you say to Lebo?
I would say the Warrior Mystery School is so diverse. It's for any kind of healer, any kind of spiritual practitioner. Even me, I kind of came into it not really thinking of myself as a healer per se. Like I said, I was an artist. I made music and I had curiosity about spirituality, only to find that I had, you know, all these other gifts. So yeah, I would say it's open to all these labels and then some, because you know we're always evolving and there's always new missions coming online for different people. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for answering that. Yes, the mystery school, honestly, it's for those who are spiritually awakening. I wouldn't even call it a container just for healers. It's if you are going through a spiritual awakening, there is a curiosity with spirituality, with God, with Christ, with ancestors. This is the space for that. But more than anything, it's a space for healing the soul, your soul, liberating your soul from whatever has been holding your soul captive, the experiences that you've been through, even concepts that you have believed in for so long that have not served you. It's really primarily for that. It's for soul liberation and reconciliation of the big concepts, which is the God wound, the Christ wound, as well as the ancestral wound that we really work deeply on, right? So everyone is welcome. Yes, as Michelle is saying, mystery school is for any human created by God. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
We all have gifts, although we have forgotten them until we awaken. Perfectly
I
said.
love that.
Because that's what the mystery school does, right? Many people come and say, oh, I'm not a healer, but every single one of us, we are healers. There are ways in which we heal, right? People in our lives, our communities as well. So genuinely, if you have a longing for all that we're talking about, of community, of understanding, and wanting to experience spirituality and wanting to heal and liberate your soul, then the mystery school is definitely for you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So last question for you, Basako. You came, as you were saying, as a musician, as an artist, but so much has transformed in terms of your mission, what you believe your mission is, and your service in the world. I would love for you to share with others just your journey with what your purpose is, what your mission is, as well, and how that has transformed. Yes.
mm.
Mm.
Oh my goodness, where do I even begin? I mean, it's always unfolding, right? But at this time, um, I would say that um, for me, creativity and artistry has always been a means of healing and um, channeling the divine, channeling that healing and connecting with, you know, all aspects of myself in many different ways. So that will always stand, and I feel like my purpose is to also reawaken that in people who feel like, you know, they have all these gifts, or they have like these they're, you know, multi-gifted, as we all are, but those who are simply um, really, 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 really have this passion or desire to really use those gifts um, to assist others in awakening that within themselves. So that, that always is there. From what I've kind of developed in the Warrior Mystery School is my oracular gifts, really tuning into my guides and my I am to really transmit messages that are also healing, that are also able to shift and transmute people energetically and in their lives. At the moment, I'm still really just very much aligned with women, especially women who have experienced sexual trauma, have experienced what we call, in the Warrior Mystery School, the sexual missionary program, and I'm really deepening into that sexual alchemy, and really helping women come back into their, their embodiment as just, the Sophia, as the Christa Sophia embodiment, which is just, just their, divine essence on earth. So it all sounds very like woohoo, but it's just I'm, I really feel so passionate and so grounded in that understanding of my personal mission, and I'm so open to it evolving. But I'm just forever grateful that I had, the support of the Warrior Mystery School and you, Joy, for kind of holding my hand along that discovery. So yeah, if you feel that this is you, if you feel like that being who is ready to step into their creative power, step into their authentic essence, and really just express themselves from their truth, just let me know. Like, I'm here. The Warrior Mystery School changed so much for me, so I will forever highly recommend experiencing that with Joy and the other beautiful warriors that have been blessed to be a part of this journey. But yeah, that's me.
Yay. Thank you, Bassaco.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
I just see
So
my friend's
beautiful.
message. I wanted to read her message.
Um,
Kara. She's like, "Hi, Diamond." That's my other name, by the way. If no one.
yeah. Yes, I know. But yes, everyone doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yes, we are going to save this live stream. She was asking. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, so one of the most beautiful thing that I keep consistently seeing with the mistress core is how our greatest pain ends up being our greatest medicine. And this has been the same for you as well. You know, you came with your own sexual wounding work that needed to be done, and which we did a lot of that. And in that, it unlocked this bigger, higher purpose, you know, which is now holding space for others in that sexual alchemy, which is really exciting. I think one of the things that really moved me is the idea of having healers, oracles, shamans who have done the healing on themselves, you know, and allowing themselves to be fully held and healed before they can really step into holding space for other people. That has been like, it's part of my mission, it's part of the mystery school. The mystery school is to help us heal so that we don't create just these distortions and damage to our community members because we haven't healed ourselves, we haven't done the reconciliation, and then we end up perpetuating distortions and woundings, you know, to our community. So this is the beauty of the mystery school. You know, Basako has definitely been diving deep into the sexual alchemy work in the mystery school and expanding on that, and also healing her own aspects that needed to be healed. And now you can connect with her and receive her work as an oracle around the sacral center, the sexual center, the womb center. So yeah, check her out on that. And yeah, so thank you so much, Basako, for coming to share your experience in the mystery school. I hope this has given others, you know, something to think about, some deeper understanding of what the experience has been. Yay! I will see you in an hour in our
Yes,
last class.
the last class. Please take the
Yay!
time. Please take the time to really dive into Joy's work, even if it's just, you know, the master classes. They are just incredible, incredible. And if you feel called, definitely join for 2023, as it will change your life and you'll really step into this mission, you know, that we're all seeking to just really embody and be of service. So thank you so much, Joy,
Yay!
for asking me as well to share. I'm so
Yay! Me
thank you,
too. Thank
everyone.
you. Yes, send her some love. Okay. I
Thank you
think
so
you
much.
can you can just leave. I don't know how. How that's that, but
Okay.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, love. Yes. Yay. Okay. Awesome. I hope that has given you much to think about in terms of the Warrior Mystery School. For those who are maybe learning this for the first time, this is our annual program for the children of God. So it's not just for healers, but if you're a child of God and you're wanting to connect with higher consciousness, with spirit, then this is the school that can support you in with that. We do healing, we do reprogramming, relearning through spirituality, organic ascension. We also particularly cultivate our own inner alchemy. You know, we do this through ourselves, you know, stopping the tradition of externalizing our healing and our spirituality. And, oh, what just happened? Yes, and yes, and we do this in community. So I invite you to check my page in the bio link. You will see that, and from that on, you can apply. I've already started discovery sessions, and we can have a conversation to see if this is aligned for you. Yay! Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I will see you next week. Bye. Yay, I'm so grateful for this community. I'm finding myself through this community, love and light. Yes, Marcos. Bye, everyone.